meters relays. And first of all, it's the women's race. From the inside, Germany, France, Russia, Great Britain, Jamaica, the United States, the Czech Republic, and Switzerland. The Americans, probably the favourites. From the Russians, Gwen Torrence leads off for the USA, Yelena Ruzina for Russia. In between them, Great Britain, led off by Linda Keogh, and Jamaica, led off by Beverly Grant. Well, Gwen Torrence is already running really well. A great sprinter, of course, at 100 and 200 metres, and she's certainly one of the world's best 400-metre runners as well. One of the few women to have been able to run inside 50 seconds, and if she can keep this pace up, she's going to give the USA a very big lead indeed. Ruzina of Russia is left well back. So too is Grant of Jamaica, Linda Keogh of Great Britain. They're all trailing in the wake of Gwen Torrence, who is showing that if she'd run the individual 400 metres, I think she'd have taken the gold in that race. But what a lead she's got on the rest of the field, and we're interested to see a time on this for her as Torrence hands on now to Maisel Malone. And the time for Torrence, 49.1.
Absolutely staggering. Well, Gwen Torrence has given the Americans a sort of lead here that is going to be desperately hard to claw back. The Russians here with Alex Xavier has got almost a 20-yard deficit here on Malone of the United States. And once you get that sort of gap, it really is so difficult to make any impression.
And a great race for third at the moment. There was Ines Turner of Jamaica, and now Phyllis Smith is running a storming race to come into third place. But the Americans are well ahead. But Alex Xavier has probably clawed back just a little bit of the ground here on Maisel Malone, the former World Student Games champion. She will hand over to the individual silver medalist, Natasha Kaiser-Brown. For Russia, it'll be Margarita Ponomariova, the bronze medalist in the 400-metre hurdles. Tracy Goddard takes over for Great Britain. Then it's Jamaica, then Germany. Still very close indeed. Tracy Goddard probably the weakest of the three British runners. And Dion Hemmings goes for Jamaica, who ran in the final of the 400-metre hurdles. But here is Kaiser-Brown, who is so impressive to reduce her personal best in the individual race. Giving chase is Ponomariova, a fine flat runner as well. Here is Goddard, who's doing really well to hold off Hemmings, with the Germans now quite close up in third place. Anja Rucker runs for them. But there's still this big lead from the USA. The USA from Russia, and the time is really fast. Malone's leg, 49.5 after Torrence had run 49.1, and Kaiser-Brown running really hard to hand over to the individual champion, Jill Miles. For the USA, Privalova takes over, and Goddard's done well to give Sally Gunnell the baton, running against the individual bronze medalist, Sandy Richards. Well, Miles is away. Kaiser-Brown's leg there was 49.4. The USA are on the way to gold, and even Privalova, who recently ran the 400 metres in under 50 seconds, is surely not going to be able to close the gap down on Jill Miles. Sally Gunnell, the 400-metre hurdles champion, is now tucking in very sensibly behind Sandy Richards, and she's got such strength that she can probably claw back that gap. We'll see in a moment as Jill Miles comes into the home straight, powering away from the USA, running really hard, not looking back, not easing up in any way. Privalova is running very fast indeed, but can do nothing to close the gap. Jill Miles is bringing the USA home team in a very fast time, a new championship record of 3:16.72. Russia got the silver, and here is Sally Gunnell running well, indeed brilliantly, to give the bronze medal to Britain, just ahead of Jamaica, with the Germans coming home in fifth place, then France and the Czech Republic and Switzerland. Well, the American team, they each ran under 50 seconds. I clocked Jill Miles there in 48.7, and the British team can be well satisfied indeed. Phyllis Smith there in the headbound, who was injured and not able to run in the individual event, was fit enough for the relay. But Steve, the US were brilliant.
They really were, and I think that they've got to give all credit to Gwen Torrence for that first leg. It really was destructive. From then on in, it was just a matter of keeping that lead going. And when you've got the backup there on the last two legs of Kaiser-Brown and Miles, 1 and 2 in the individual 4, you can't ask for more than that. Superb performance. Winning time, 3 minutes 16.71, a new championship record.
So that's 2 gold medals then for Jill Miles, both the individual and the relay. Look at the time, she says. Well, they might. 3 minutes 16.71. The Russians set a national record for the silver. Looking forward with keen anticipation this men's 4x400. Running in lane 5, the USA are one of the clearest shots for a gold medal we've seen. But what time will they do? The full lineup: Russia, Jamaica, Kenya, Germany, the USA in 5, Cuba, France and Bulgaria. The US led off by Andrew Valmont. Germans led off by Rico Lida. Kennedy Ochieng goes for Kenya, who are probably the favourites for the silver medal. And Lida has gone off really fast for Germany in lane 4, but outside him still is Andrew Valmont. And Valmont is going because the US are undoubtedly going for the world record here. That's a tough one. That was set at 2 minutes 55.74 in the Olympics. And it's a great record. Let's see how they can fare. But Valmont has given them the sort of start they need. Ochieng going for Kenya in 3, O'Connor for Jamaica in lane 2. But here comes Andrew Valmont, beating up the stagger of Ivan Garcia of Cuba. France going well further out, but Valmont is going to hand over in the lead for the USA. It's going to be the US on their own from here. Valmont handing over to the Olympic champion Quincy Watts, who was out of the medals in the individual event, only 4th, and he's building up a huge lead. But they're settling in close behind, and the crowd giving great support because they can see that Carsten Hughes of Germany is in 2nd place. Well, Watts really going hard for this here. The Russians closing up on the Germans. The Kenyans have now come through to their 2nd place. Simon Kemboy goes for them, but Watts has got something like 20 metres.
Well, you get the feeling now that the Americans are going all out. Sometimes relays can coast through, but when you've got a quartet like these 4, I get the sensing that they're going to go for this world record. They've got the capability. Look at that gap already. This is only the 2nd leg, don't forget. And look how far they're ahead of the rest of the world.
Well, look at that time. 1:28.03. I clocked Valmont in 44.5. That means Watts ran 43.5.
They're storming away. And now you've got the world record holder on the 3rd leg, Butch Reynolds. Look at the determination on this man's face. They're almost 60 or so yards in front of the Germans coming through hard. The crowd are going berserk about that. But up front, we're on for a world record. Look at that gap. It's staggering. Butch Reynolds is piling it on round that top bend.
Hey, there's a good race going on for 2nd place, though, behind them. Look at this, the Germans and the French, and then the Kenyans. But now we concentrate as Butch Reynolds will hand over to Michael Johnson. On that time, 2:11.36. That means that Reynolds has run a 43.3 leg. Well, the world record is on now. Johnson is almost sure to get it. He only needs about 44.3 for the world record, and that's well within his capabilities. He ran 43.6 in the individual event. He's got a flying start this time. But that battle is still on behind for the other medals. Here's the Russians, then the Germans, Kenya, Jamaica, Cuba. They're all in contention. First of all, we're looking at Michael Johnson, this brilliant sprinter who's moved up from 200 metres. And here's the battle on for the other placings. The Kenyans coming up, the Germans going really well. Thomas Schoenleber on the last leg for them. Samson Kitur goes for Kenya. And here comes Johnson. The world record has been smashed by a 2.5 as the battle is on for the other medals. And Kenya take it on the line with the Germans getting the bronze. And France are 4th with Russia 5th. There are congratulations all round. But this is the performance of the championships. A great world record has been smashed by 1.5 minutes. And Johnson's last leg was 42.93, far and away the fastest a man has ever run 400 metres.
Well, that must be a staggering performance as we watch now. This is the chase on for the silver medals. Kitur there of Kenya takes the silver, but Thomas Schoenleber there of Germany takes the bronze, and that's a fitting end for a fantastic championships here that Germany get a medal in the 4x4. But this man, Michael Johnson, has just run 42.9 seconds. I'll say that again, 42.9 seconds. That is the fastest time a human being has ever run a 400 metres. And that was the anchor leg of a quartet that has run 44.5 for Valmont, 43.6 for Watts, 43.2 for Reynolds, giving a new world record of over 1.5 seconds faster than the previous record of 2 minutes 54.29 seconds. That has got to be the performance of the championships. Absolutely staggering. Well, they're going round for another lap. They've got time. After running like that, they've got time to take another 2 laps round.
2 minutes 54.29. Then Kenya and Germany, and national records then for France and Russia in a great race for the other.